We've been to the hospital. I have a robot arm. This is all the crafting you can do with one arm, your non-dominant hand, after elbow surgery. Hi friends, welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast. My name is Hannah. This is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. Oh my gosh, y'all. How are you? This podcast, which is all about crochet and knitting, etc., will have no crochet or knitting because I have a robot arm. I had elbow surgery. If this is your first episode, this is going to be a wild episode because I have 3 crafts to show you that I have never tried before in the history of my life. So 3 brand new crafts to me that I have all done with my left hand, my non-dominant hand. It has been over a month. I think it's been 5 weeks since I've had surgery now, maybe 5.5 weeks. And I meant to come back 2 Saturdays ago, and then I meant to come back last Saturday, but instead our entire house got the plague. And when I say the plague, like the amount of times we have been to the doctor, I don't think I have been that sick in a long time. And I think you can still hear it a little bit in my voice. Man, those kids got me. We'll talk about that later. We had to take baby Noah to the hospital. It has been wild. And all of that on top of having elbow surgery, which was a really difficult, painful recovery. Still not over. I have to wear this for at least another week. It has made crafting feel impossible. When I gathered everything up, I was like, okay, do I even have anything to show? But I do. I have a couple of finished objects. I have, like I said, 3 brand new crafts that I've never tried before to share with you. And I think that these are, if you are in any kind of situation where you can only use one arm, that these are things that you can do with only one arm. And so let's just dive right in. We've got lots to talk about. If you're looking for me anywhere on the interweb, my name is Hannah. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm so out of practice. I'm not deleting that. This is real life. Just my shirt says everything hurts. Because it does. It's actually my husband's shirt. I have to wear long sleeves under this because this rubs on the incision, which is like this big, mind you. Anyways, tangent. If you're looking for me anywhere on the interweb, you can find me as the Cozy Cottage Crochet on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. And if anything to say about the podcast specifically, please email me. It's thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com, and that way I can respond to you. I am a little bit behind on responding, not to emails. I think I have most of those, but like YouTube comments and things like that, simply because typing and even texting on my phone is not really hard. It is really hard. I have been using my talk to text a lot because I can move all these fingers, but I can't really move my thumb. And I'm sipping on some ginger ale because my tummy is not so happy on account of a violent reaction to some medication that I was taking. Now, the 3 crafts that I'm going to share with you today. Number 1, diamond painting. Number 2, cross stitch. Number 3, weaving, and then bonus puzzling. I have never done any of this before, minus puzzles. I definitely have made puzzles in my life. And I have some finished objects. So before I had elbow surgery, I went to Michael's and kind of putzed around to just see what there was to see. Is there anything I can do, anything I can buy to occupy myself, my brain, my hands after elbow surgery? Because crafting is the thing that keeps me centered, calm, sane. And knitting and crochet particularly does that for me. And if I can't do that, I was really worried about my anxiety levels, etc. So I need to keep my mind calm by keeping my hands busy. And I know that that rings true for a lot of you. So the first thing I picked up was some diamond painting. Now my sister-in-law does diamond painting, and she does epic diamond painting. She does giant, full coverage, phenomenal diamond paintings. I have never diamond painted in my life. So if you don't know what it is, it's essentially paint by numbers, but you're using these tiny little shiny pieces of plastic and you stick them onto a paper or a cutout to make a design. So I picked up at Michael's this little kit, which has got 3 diamond painting mushrooms in it. And then I picked up this as well. I haven't started this one. This is Hedwig from Harry Potter. and it's a double-sided. So you do the front and then you turn it around and do the back. This one looks like it's very, very simple, but if you get in really close, you can see that there's gray variation in here, so you're really gonna have to pay attention. I think I'm gonna skip to this one because I have one more to show you as well. I really wanna make the head wig. I love head wig. I love head wig. I have my favorite stitch marker is a keychain that I turned into a stitch marker that I got at the Platform 9 3/4 store at the train station in London when we were there in 2018. I just adore that stitch marker. So my finished objects are these 3 mushrooms. I actually completed these right after surgery. I think not the day of, but the next day, the day after that, I skipped a day, and then the 4th day, I did 1 mushroom each night because it was just the right amount of diamond painting. They didn't take that long. I was doing them with my left hand, which is totally doable. And I have 3 finished mushrooms. So I want to show you what comes in a diamond painting kit in case you've never seen one before. So you'll get, like, this is one of the mushrooms that came, and I can't show you on the other side exactly because I've covered it in pieces of plastic, but it will have a pattern, a chart essentially on here. And what you get is a little pen that looks like this. You fill the top with wax, and they give you a little wax pot in the kit. And the wax is what makes it sticky, so you can pick up these tiny little pieces. So these are the diamond painting pieces. I can get it to focus. Get my eyes out of the frame. It's having a hard time for these tiny pieces. But these are all my leftovers. If you diamond paint, what do you do with your leftovers? Do you just toss them? Do you make your own designs? Like, how does this work? You get a little tray, so you pour one color. I assume you work on one color at a time. That's what I've done. You pour that into the tray. You take your little stick, you dip it in the wax so it gets a little sticky, and then you essentially are just doing transfer. So you pick one up, you stick it on the sticky sheet. You pick one up, and you just follow the pattern like paint by number, except you're using a little chart. So these are my 3 mushrooms, and I can't remember what order I did them in. I want to say I did this one first. And these are all bookmarks. So this is plastic. Oh, man, this focus is having a hard time today. So this is bookmark number 1. This is bookmark number 2. Yes. And this is bookmark number 3. I know this is the 3rd one I worked on because it was the most complicated and had the most colors. I think they're gorgeous. I really enjoyed this. It kept my mind busy during those 4 nights after the surgery. And they were just small enough that it was a really enjoyable, pleasurable experience. So I really enjoyed diamond painting these. And I'm going to enjoy using these as bookmarks. Like, these make me so happy. And I don't even like mushrooms in real life. I mean, I like the idea of mushrooms, but the texture of a mushroom, for any of my fellow texture sensitive people, the texture of mushrooms makes me want to die. Like, if I bite down on a mushroom, I'm like, ugh, like it hurts my jaw. I make a killer mushroom soup every year for Christmas and Thanksgiving, but the mushrooms are pureed into oblivion, so you cannot bite them, which is not how the recipe says to do it, but I do my own thing. So yes, I really, really loved these. And because I was working on diamond painting these 3 mushrooms, one of my friends saw that and was like, hey, I have a diamond painting kit that I bought because I thought I was going to do it, but it turned out I never did it. Would you like to do it? And I was like, absolutely, because I've been having so much fun. So she gave me this diamond painting kit. I believe this is also from Michael's. It's by Make Market. It's the same brand of the mushrooms. And it looks like this. That is what the finished objects look like. It's like a seascape, a shore, same principle, except this is a full coverage piece and you can hang it at the end. And so I dove headfirst into this. And what I have realized is I don't think that I enjoy making full coverage pieces. I need something small and gratifying. I need some instant gratification because I have worked on this probably 4 nights or 5 nights. And I tried to do 1 color a night, but of course some of these use so many plastic pieces, some of the colors, that you can't get it all done in one night, or at least I can't with my limited amount of time and flexibility with my arm. So this is where I'm at. So this is going to give you a good idea of the grid. So you can see that it's literally like a paint by number. Like all of these have letters on them and they all are different colors. So you can have some idea. So I started over here in this corner. I did a lot of these rocks, and then this blue color is what I'm currently on, and I think I'm like 1/3 of the way through that blue color. And so all of that blue is what I did in one night. I am planning to finish this, and then I'm planning to give it back to the friend who gave it to me, because she brought us food after I had surgery. They brought us dinner, and she separately brought a bunch of stuff for the kids. She brought toys for the kids that I pulled out during really hard moments when I was recovering and I just like could not handle it and the kids were going crazy. She brought snacks for them like multiple times. She was so helpful, like be over and above and beyond what a normal person would be, I think. And I just appreciate her so much. And in her house, she has curated this just very peaceful, calm, amazing space. And I know that she picked this because it would go in her house and she thought it would be beautiful. And I think it will be absolutely beautiful. So I am planning to finish this and then give it back to her as a thank you for how much she did for us after surgery. But I can say that I do not think I would purchase personally a full coverage diamond painting again anytime soon. I'm not going to say like never in my life will I not do a full coverage, but it's not going to be my go-to. Like if I'm going to diamond paint, I want to do something like this that's small and adorable. Something like this that's a head wig, small and adorable. Is this on a stand? I think that this one goes on a stand when you're done. It looks like it has a little plastic piece underneath. Yeah. So what will I do with Hedwig? I don't know. Can Hedwig be just a decoration? I don't really have a lot of decorations around. Who knows? So yeah, that's diamond painting. I feel like a fair amount of progress with that. Now, craft number 2, let's see, cross stitch. So I have never cross stitched in my life. Cross stitch is something that I find fascinating, but that I have always thought would be too slow and tedious of a craft for me. And why would I want to do that when I can crochet? It has always been my thing. Like, why would I do this if I could just crochet instead? But I cannot crochet. I'm still not allowed to crochet. I'm not allowed to touch a yarn or a hook or anything at least until next week. And then I'm probably still going to be under some pretty heavy restrictions on how much time I can spend, etc. I'm going to have to go to physical therapy. It's going to be a whole thing. So I was like, okay, I think that I can cross stitch with my left hand. Is it going to be like super fluid and super easy to do? No. But I think I can do it if I get some tools to help me do it. And so what I did is I went on Etsy and I searched for cross stitch kits, because I've never cross stitched before. I know the general idea just from watching other people's craft podcasts, specifically The Fat Squirrel does a lot of just amazing cross stitch. And so I know of cross stitch. I know I know like what it's supposed to look like. Do I know how to cross stitch? Kind of. Like I have the general idea. How do I make the back look nice? Don't ask me that. There's all kinds of things that I had to figure out on the fly. But I found these 2 kits on Etsy that I thought would go perfectly in my home for our aesthetic, which is big nerd, okay? So it's a little shop called the Enchanted Needle on Etsy, and I will link that shop below. And they're in the UK, but I still got this super quickly. Like the mail came, I want to say in less than a week, and I was not expecting it to be that quick. It came before I had surgery. I'm pretty sure it came before I had surgery, which I was very thankful for. Well, yeah, it definitely did, because I put the first cross stitch kit on the hoop before I had surgery, and I think that would have been very difficult to do post-surgery. So I ordered 2 kits. This is kit number 1. And you can see this is her Etsy shop name, Enchanted Needle, I think that's probably because the name was taken, but the actual shop name is The Enchanted Needle. So there's a poison vial cross stitch kit, which comes with the needle, all the threads you need, fabric, a 4-inch embroidery hoop, instructions, etc. And then the second one I ordered is a bigger one, but it says live, laugh, loot the bodies. We're big video game people over here. So less big than we used to be because we don't have time because we have tiny children, but like I love video games, especially open world, like video games where I can run around with a giant sword and smash people, i.e. Skyrim, i.e. I have the bad guy dragon from Skyrim, Alduin, tattooed on my leg. That's how big of a nerd I am. So Live, Laugh, Loot the Body is totally my aesthetic, and it has a bunch of other little things like vials and hearts and torches and stuff like that that you'll cross stitch on. I almost said crochet on. Crochet is like on my mind. Like I literally have been dreaming about crocheting because I'm not allowed to do it. Now, can you cross stitch with one hand? Yes. Can you cross stitch easily with one hand? No. There are things that I purchased that I will show you that made this possible for me. If I did not have these things, I would not have been able to cross stitch. It just would not have been possible. So the first thing is this stand. A lot of people recommended this stand or a stand like it. It's like an embroidery hoop stand, so you can use it for cross stitch, embroidery, etc., etc. And it holds your cross stitch. You can sit on it. It's adjustable up and down. It's adjustable this way, and it's adjustable this way. So there's all kinds of pieces that adjust. I have linked this and the next couple of things that I'm going to tell you about directly below if you want to look at them. It's not like I'm not going to make any money. I'm not an affiliate for these items. These are just things that I purchased, and I purchased them on Amazon because I wanted them to come quickly and because I needed to be like able to trust that it was going to be an okay, at least a decent product, because I didn't have time or energy to be able to deal with returns, etc., given that I was having surgery. So this stand, lifesaver. If I did not have this stand, there is no way I could have cross-stitched because I could not use this arm at all for the first couple of weeks. And there's no way I could have held it, nothing. So I really enjoyed this. The only thing I don't love is how this moves around. You actually need it to move around. There's a reason, right, that it moves around so that you can adjust it to where you need it and you can turn it around. But I wish that it had like a stopper to stop it from moving around, because that I found a little fiddly, especially if I was sitting on it and I was doing something with my left hand. I couldn't stabilize it at the beginning with my right hand. I can do that now, so it's not as big of a deal, but it was a little like moving on me at the beginning. The rest of it, no complaints. It has this adjustable bar. It was super easy to put together. Again, I put this together before I had surgery. I think it would have been very difficult to put it together with one hand. I would have had to have someone else do it for me. So this is what it looks like with a cross stitch on it. And this cross stitch is finished, but I wanted to show you what it looked like with a cross stitch on it before I take it off. So you simply just unscrew it. It can fit any kind of different size embroidery hooks or cross stitch hoops, etc. Set this down without whacking the camera. So that was the first thing I purchased. This is my little cross stitch. It is adorable. Looking at it on this camera in this light makes me love it so much more. I cannot leave well enough alone. As you know, if you have been with me for any amount of time, I am always making changes to things, changing them to my liking, etc. And I did that with this pattern. So I want to show you. It's a little bit scribbled on, but like this is what it was supposed to look like. And I don't know if you probably can't even tell because it's really subtle. But this goes in a lot more than mine. I made my skull just a little bit fatter to kind of round it out. So that was the first change that I made. The second change that I made is I have left my eyes blank. I do not have any black embroidery cross-stitch thread. I could get some, and I may do that at some point, but for now I am calling this finished. All I have to do is kind of tag all of this down and like hot glue a piece of felt to the back of it, but I wanted to show you the back just so you know if you have a messy back. It doesn't look as messy right now as it actually is in real life. I'm gonna put it like really close. The back is a disaster because I did not have the dexterity to be able to tie any knots or do anything like that with all of these threads. So these are all just dangling threads in the back that I stitched over when continuing on. And I didn't stitch over them like intentionally. It's not like I had a plan and I was like weaving them in or laying them in a certain way that they would be caught under the new stitches. I just haphazardly kept stitching. And I can't say that that's a good idea. I can't recommend that because at some points, especially when there's a lot of color changes right here, on this side, the extra thread would kind of get pulled through and it made it hard to stitch. And sometimes it contributed to tangles. So I can't recommend that you do that, but I didn't have any kind of dexterity to be able to mitigate that. So I just decided that's how it was gonna go. And it's the back, like, who cares? Who cares what it looks like? The kit came with all of these colors, and it came with this needle that you see on top of the little sheep. This needle minder is another thing that I purchased on Amazon. They don't have the sheep anymore, but there's other ones. I linked a little mushroom, and essentially what it is a magnet. Eee! I'm gonna stab myself. It's a magnet. What? There. And it keeps your needle from dangling, from falling off the thread. It just keeps it from stabbing you at any various point. So I found this extremely helpful. And the other thing that I found really helpful is I ordered some needle threaders. These are flowered needle threaders. In fact, I'll open it. I want to say this whole kit of like 5 flower needle threaders was a couple of dollars. And I used this 100,000 times. Every time I needed to change color, I used it, but I also like kept pulling the needle off because I'm just not that, I don't have a lot of dexterity with my left hand. And so I had to rethread my needle a lot. Without this needle threader, I would have been so frustrated, you guys. So I'm really happy that I purchased a $6 magnetic needle finder and a kit of a couple dollars of like these little flower stitch markers because it was a lifesaver. So what else can I tell you? So the kit comes with, of course, the pattern. It comes with a key that tells you which color is which. And I saved all of my threads to show you what I had left. This is what I have left. So as you can see, like it has a little card with all the threads attached to it. What I wanted to show you in particular is the main color, the pink color of the skull. And she gives you plenty of extra thread, which I found really helpful because I made a lot of mistakes. I tangled I tangled my thread a lot of times. I had to cut it out at one point and like redo a section because it was such a mess. And if she had not included enough thread, I would have been in big trouble. This is how much I have left of the main color. This little tiny wisp. I don't know how many stitches I could get out of that, but not many. I was definitely playing thread chicken. The rest of them, I have tons left. There's no problem. I guess if you're a cross stitcher, like, what do you do with this stuff? Do you keep it? I don't know that I'm going to keep this, right? Like cross stitch thread I don't know that cross stitch is going to be a huge part of my life. So I don't know that I need to keep this, but I appreciated how it was set up and presented. I found it very easy to take it off, get my thread, and then restart the thing. Excuse me. So what can I say about this? I think it looks great. I'm not sure if I actually like it, which is a weird thing to say because I picked this specifically because A, it's like a vial, like a poison vial that you would find in a video game. But B, this is my color. Like I love bright pink. I just am not sure that it's high contrast enough. So like there's multiple kinds of pinks in here. There's 2 different kinds of dark pinks. And unless you're really close to it, you can't tell. It just looks like one color. There's these 2 colors on the outside making this outline. Those are 2 different blues. And unless you're really close, again, you can't tell that it's a different color. I'm just not sure that this is my aesthetic. But like, if you hold it up next to me, it's totally my aesthetic, right? I think the more I look at it on camera, the more I like it. I'm not mad at this. I think what really tripped me up is how close the two darkest pinks were in color, and the eyes of this are supposed to be the darkest pink. And I did them that way, but I didn't like how it looked because it just blended in. It was very difficult to see the eyes, and I feel like the eyes are what makes this. Like, you can tell that it's a skull because of the eyes. So I first did them in pink, ripped it out. I then did them in pink with a gold outline, one of these gold colors up here for the top of the vial. Hated it, ripped it out. I tried it with a little white, hated it, ripped it out. So I used a fair amount of the extra thread, messing with the eyes, and I eventually just left them black. The kit itself is supposed to come with white Aida. This fabric is called Aida, that's what you stitch on. I asked her for black because I just think it's better. Of course, I did get messages from people being like, you're choosing black to work on for your first ever cross stitch? Yes, y'all know I don't make anything easy. If it can be complicated, watch out. I will complicate it unnecessarily. So I'm trying to decide if I want to get black thread and finish it, because black thread, I bet I could get a black thread at Michael's for $1, maybe $2, and put that in there and just before I finish the actual hoop itself, because once I put felt on the back of this and hot glue it, I'm not going to take it off, right? I also think I need to adjust this slightly, like it's way down here at the bottom. It needs to be like centered better. But again, I did this a while ago. So yeah, I think I probably will get some black thread. The other thing to note about cross stitch, if you don't know this, because you've never cross stitched, I knew that you used like DMC embroidery thread. But what I did not understand is that there are 6 individual plies in a piece of embroidery thread. So it's one thread, one string made up of 6 plies. You only use 2 of them for most cross stitch. So you cut a piece, or you have a pre-cut piece like that come from a kit, and you have to actually pull off 2 threads to work with, because I initially started using the whole thing and I was like, why is this not working? I don't understand. Yeah, because I'm doing it wrong. That's why. So that was ridiculous. And just know, if you're going to pick up cross stitching, that you're going to have to take a thread and separate out 2 threads, 2 plies. It would be like taking your yarn and that had like a 6 ply and cutting a length and then unraveling 2 pieces of yarn, 2 threads of yarn from the total 6 so that you could then stitch with it. It's not that complicated. It would never have occurred to me that that's what needed to happen. Of course, there was a note about that in the instructions, and I read the instructions, but I was on like pain medication, so I don't know that it really sunk in. So yeah, this is my finished cross stitch. Someone did suggest I get glittery thread and put that in the eyes. That is a tempting idea. If I'm gonna buy black, might as well buy glitter, but I don't think I'm going to. I think regular black will be fine. And then I will find somewhere to hang this because it's adorable. It is adorable. It is objectively adorable. I'm still not sure that I'm in love with it, but I am in love with it. I'm more in love with it than I was when I started talking about it. So that is a finished object as well. I'm calling it finished, even though I haven't technically put the back on it. Once it's finished, then I shall report back again. The second project, cross-stitch project, Live, Laugh, Loot the Bodies, I started, not last night because I didn't get any crafting yesterday. I started it the day before. And so I started in the middle, and I've got the H of the. So this is a bigger cross-stitch kit because this is a bigger hoop. This is a 6-inch embroidery hoop as opposed to a tinier one. See? So this is going to be a bigger piece. I think that I'm going to like this one more. Even though, again, if I had this pattern, I might choose different colors. But I just didn't know that when I ordered these kits, and I don't think there's any way that I could have embarked on making a cross stitch without ordering a kit. So I'm not upset that I have kits. And I think that these kits are really, really well put together, and I have nothing bad to say about them. The kit being so helpful is the reason I was able to complete this. But my personal color choices are often different than other people's because I love bright colors. So for example, if I was going to say live, laugh, loot the bodies on this, I would probably love to do this in like a neon color, like neon highlighter yellow, hot pink, something like that. And of course, there's no neons in this, but that's fine. I think I really will enjoy this, and my husband really likes this pattern as well because he's a giant nerd, as am I. So this is what the pattern looks like. It's a lot bigger than the other one because it's a bigger hoop, and has the key on the back. It has how to thread your needle. It has how to do a cross stitch. This was super helpful for me. And the reason I think that I will like this one more is because there is a fair amount of stitching on here, but it's a lot of space, but it's not all next to each other. So like I will get gratification. I'll get that little hit of like, you completed something, you get dopamine every time I finish one of these letters. Whereas in the skull, it was like, just keep stitching, just keep stitching, just keep stitching. I didn't get as many checkpoints along the way. I can tell you right now, based on my experience with diamond painting, that a full coverage cross stitch, at least at this point in my life, not for me. Like, I don't think I could keep it up. I think it would make me miserable to feel so little sense of accomplishment. And I do this with crochet and knitting as well. I will have stitch markers, right, to track my progress so that I can feel like I'm making progress, even if it's a really, really slow project, like using lace weight yarn or like endless rounds of stockinette or something like that. So this one has thread as well. Oh, here's her card. This is what the needle came on. It had a little sticky on it. And then this is her card right here. Perfect. But I will link her shop down below. She has a ton of cross stitch patterns, just patterns that you can buy. She has a few kits, but like tons of patterns. So if you wanted to pick your own colors, you could do that. And what I have in this envelope is a pin, and there are 2 needle threaders, a pink one and a blue one. Why is there 2? I have no idea. Doesn't matter. Let me just show you. This is what the card looks like. And this one I thought was really funny because it's got a different like font. It's got a nerdy font, I would say, for the color names. And so we have little pieces of thread for all the other colors. And then for this white, which is the main color that you do all of the lettering in, there's a lot of thread. So like I said, I just started that. I think I will highly enjoy it. And oh, I'm a bad cross stitcher because here we have the remnants of the first piece that I pulled out. This is 4 threads because I had to separate 2 to stitch with 2. And did I attach it back to the card so it wouldn't get tangled? No, I didn't. I just shoved it in the envelope. Bad, bad Hannah. So is that enough talk about cross stitch? I suppose so. I like my little H. I am not opposed to, in the future, having a cross stitch project on the go. I think I just need to be careful with what kind of pattern I pick and what kind of colors that I might pick, because I know based on having completed one entire project that I just need a little more sense of accomplishment. And so I'm putting this, now that the other one is off, I'm putting this bigger hoop on my stand, and then you can see what it looks like. Ta-da! And I might even work on this tonight. So that's craft number 2. And like I said, those 3 things, the stand, the needle minder, the little magnetic thing, or the needle threaders, which I could not have survived without, will all be linked down below. I got them directly from Amazon. If you want them, you can get them too. The last craft that I have started for the first time ever in my life is weaving. And this is kind of a ridiculous tale because I have the ability, the skill, the special quality to just believe that I can pick something up and just figure it out. Like it doesn't matter, I'll figure it out. And so I thought I knew what I was doing and I did not. So I'm going to insert a video clip here that tells you what I did with my weaving loom and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like now. Hello. Why am I hiding in my bathroom making a clip? Because I want to show you this weaving loom before I take it off. So, you may have heard that I bought a weaving loom to do with my left hand because of my bionic arm. I warped it before I had elbow surgery, and I got this loom at Michael's. This is a Loops and Threads weaving loom. That's all it says on the package, Loops and Threads weaving loom. You put it together. It's just 4 pieces held together by screws, and then you can warp it in all of these little slots. This is where the yarn goes. So I warped this before I had elbow surgery. I have a particular quality where I just think I can figure something out without looking at anything. There were no instructions in this package, okay? And I was just like, I mean, weaving, how hard can it be? Not very hard at all. As you can see, I have done a little bit. I did a couple of rows in this color, this is just some leftover scrap yarn that I have. And then this is yarn that I frogged from another project. And I just wasn't feeling it. Like, I didn't really like it because you can't see the warp at all. So this is the warp, all these strings. This is the weft right here. It's kind of going in a little bit at the sides, which I know I need to just loosen up my tension, but I was thinking, like, it doesn't seem like this is made for the type of weaving that I was envisioning in my head. Like, I was envisioning, like, you're making fabric, like, that you could sew with, or like make a scarf. I mean, obviously you can't make a scarf on a square, but like, you know what I mean? So I did a little digging, and it turns out this is not a regular weaving loom. This is a tapestry weaving loom. So the difference between a tapestry weaving loom and a regular weaving loom is for tapestry weaving, you're not really going to see these threads at all. You are only going to see this part. And in regular weaving, these threads are used to change the color of the weave as well as pattern, etc., etc. So not only is this not tight enough, this warp is definitely not tight enough. This is not the type of project that you would weave on this. Now, I could keep going and just make a square in a color, but I don't want to because it wasn't bringing me any joy. So I'm actually going to take this off the loom. I am going to do the warp with some cotton thread that I have, and I'm going to try to do it really tightly. How well it will work with this arm, I don't know, but I'm going to try to do that. And then what I'm going to try to do is tapestry weaving that ends up looking like a pieced triangle quilt square, because you know, I just can't leave well enough alone, and everything has to be complicated. I'm not like, am I just going to make a straight tapestry weaving? No, it's going to be a pattern. I'm going to make triangles. So essentially I'm going to like bifurcate this and weave a triangle this way, weave a triangle this way, close it off, and then do the same thing on the top. Will that work? I have no idea. Truly no idea. But this is, in case you ever buy a Loops and Threads weaving loom, just know that this is a tapestry weaving loom. This is not a regular weaving loom. And it is still very magical and wonderful and fabulous, and you can make all kinds of fun things on it. But the type of weaving that you do on this, you're not going to see the warp at all. So you're pretty much only seeing your primary color and the texture that you're making there. So yes, I'm about to, let's see if we can do it on camera. Oh, just pry this off. This is just scrap yarn. I'm not precious about it. What we have here is a bunch of fringe, and I'm just gonna yank it off. It's kind of tied on. So there we go. There we go. It is now ready for warp. I cannot warp it right now because Josiah's working in his office, but will I do it tonight? Also probably not, because I have to work. But soon I will warp this with the correct thread, and then I will get started on the adventure of tapestry weaving. Okay, so I don't actually remember what I said in that clip because it was so long ago, but essentially I picked up a tapestry weaving loom, and I didn't realize that it was a tapestry weaving loom. And so what I was doing did not work at all. And so I have rewarped this. Oh, it's showing up so good on camera. I have rewarped this so that I can do actual tapestry weaving. I have only done 2 sittings on this. One was to warp it and then do this plain weave at the bottom. which is the edging. So tapestry weaving, I don't know if regular weaving you can just pick up and do whatever you want, having no idea what you're doing. But tapestry weaving, the answer is no, you cannot. I knew how to warp it, but what I did not realize is that before you start weaving, you need to do a series of a specific kind of knot. Don't ask me what it's called. I don't remember. I'll have to look it up again when I get to the end of this. But you do a specific kind of knot on the bottom to keep your piece from unraveling. And then you essentially weave like 5 rows of plain, just plain weave with your warp, usually. And that's like your selvage edge, so that when you are done and you take this piece off, it not only doesn't fall apart, but you have this right here to tack down on the other side that will really give your piece stability. So the warp I figured out by myself, but I was using the wrong kind of yarn to warp. So I used a fingering weight, just like a fingering weight scrap of wool, which is too stretchy. Especially, maybe not for regular weaving, I don't know, again. I would totally try like one of those shacked weaving looms someday. I would be fascinated to try that. But right now, what we have is a $20 tapestry weaving loom from Michaels. You need a cotton, or you need something really stiff and sturdy, because you have to really make this tight. Like this should be tight like guitar strings. This part over here, not very tight. This part in the middle, pretty tight. So I was getting better at it. So what I have done is made myself a complicated pattern. I was watching The Fat Squirrel again, and she was doing this really cool quilt block with triangles. And I was like, ooh, that is what I want my weaving to look like. I think I can finagle it. So I like screenshotted a picture of The Fat Squirrel. I'll link The Fat Squirrel below. If you don't watch her, she is such a delight. Like just as a human, she makes the most amazing projects. She does mostly knitting, cross stitch, sewing, quilting. I don't know that she does weaving. And sometimes, every once in a while, there'll be some crochet. I think she just finished a crochet project recently. And I find her book reviews to be like stellar. I'm a person who I don't read a lot just because it's not that time in my life. I can maybe listen to an audiobook, but I get really irritated when I get interrupted, which I get constantly interrupted because I have small children. So I've just accepted that for the next couple of years, reading is not going to be a big part of my life, which makes me sad because I adore reading. But my kids need my attention without me being super frustrated that they're existing because they're interrupting me reading my book. So I think she has the best book reviews on the planet. That's my platform. I will vote for me because my platform is The Fat Squirrel has the best book reviews on the planet. And she's honestly the most delightful person. I have a few goals for this channel in a year, like this year, and will they happen? Who knows? But one of them is to like increase the revenue just slightly enough that I can then support The Fat Squirrel on her Patreon. So what was I saying? Back to weaving. This is based on a quilt square that she is making. And basically what it is going to be is hers is pink and white and hers is sewn. This is going to be a tapestry. So I'm doing this in red and white. So this is going to be red. This one will be white. And then this internal diamond will be bifurcated into 4 triangles as well. So there'll be a white triangle, red, and basically it'll be inverted. So it'll be like red, white. Oh no, the baby's crying. Red, white, red, white. So all the way across, and the same this way. I have just started on the red. Is he gonna go back to sleep? I don't know, he's sitting up. Come on, baby Noah. This is what I've done so far, and I've kind of marked this out with a ruler. Is it exact? I don't know. I have looked up some tutorials and things on tapestry weaving, and hopefully it will come out. I think my goal would be at the end of this to either make like a pillow out of it or possibly make it into a giant tote bag. Maybe make 2 of them and make it into a giant tote bag. I don't know if I have the patience to make 2 of these, but we'll see. Oh, he laid back down, you guys. Did I speak too soon? Is he gonna sit up and cry in another minute? I don't know. I know you're seeing this after it airs, but like send your sleeping vibes to him. He so needs them. So this is where we're at. I have only worked on this one time with the red and I am using a worsted weight yarn, which is, again, I like to make things hard for myself. If I just picked like a bulky yarn from my stash, it would work up so much faster, right? But did I do that? Absolutely not. If I can make it harder, I will. The warp, yes, the warp, which is made in, I did it in cotton, is just this plain cream colored cotton, because you're not really going to see the warp at all. I don't know what this is. I don't think it's sugar and cream, because it's a little bit softer than that and it's a little bit thinner, but it was just in my stash, just plain cream cotton. The red and the white that I will be using for the main weaving is some of the oldest yarn in my stash. And I have had this yarn for 8 to 10 years, I think. And I had 2 huge balls of each of these colors. This is Bernat Handicrafter Holiday Cotton. It is 100% cotton, I think. Oh no, it's not. It's 98% cotton, 2% metallic thread. And I got these on clearance for $3 a ball at either Joann's or Michael's in California when I used to travel out there for work. And so I don't know how well you can see the sparkle much more on the red, but the white has an equal amount of sparkle. So I have 2 full skeins untouched of this, 2 full balls. And I also have this. And you can see that I have used some of this white and some of this red. I've made dishcloths with these. I've made Christmas ornaments with these. It's like the cotton that never ends. And I think even after this weaving, I'll have tons of this left. But I really had no idea how much yarn weaving takes. And so I picked a yarn in my stash that I thought was beautiful, would work for this color design, would have a big contrast, but also that I would have enough of. And I'll have more than enough. So that's the yarn. I have not started the white yet. And I would love to just fly on this. But the main problem that I have run into with all 3 of these crafts is one of the main reasons that I love crochet and knitting. And that is I can take it anywhere. I can pick it up and put it down, no problem. Every once in a while when you're working on a really complicated pattern, of course you need focus time or setup time. But crochet and knitting does not require setup. Crochet and knitting does not require a hoop stand, right? It doesn't require unraveling threads from a piece of DMC embroidery floss. It does not require a giant tapestry weaving loom. Like, I can't just pick this up and put this down. I cannot pull this out in front of my kids the way that I could pull out a knit sock and just do a couple rounds, set it down, help them with whatever they need, and then pick it back up again. I can't do that because I have to keep track. And it's humongous. And if I pulled this out in front of my kids, they'd be on top of me. I cannot pull diamond painting out and just do it whenever I feel like it. It requires setup, and there's these tiny little pieces that if any of these kids touched it, would go everywhere. So that's been the biggest problem for me, is the setup and the undivided attention that it requires to do all 3 of these. So it's, in fact, that's one of the reasons I have never tried or started weaving, even though the idea is so fascinating to me, because I don't want to do it on a spindle, a drop spindle. I know that will just irritate me, but I would love to learn how to spin on a wheel. But again, I don't think I could just sit there. I would have to hide it in the closet, pull it out, get set up, get going, right, and then put it back away, and which is fine, but I'm just not in the phase of my life where that's possible, because I have little kids who would be into it. I think Nova would be okay enough to not bother it and not touch it or like help me with it. But Noah, it's not his life, okay? And so I just kind of have to accept that, right? So I feel like I've accomplished a lot because I had 3 finished mushrooms, diamond painted. I have 1 finished cross stitch. I have a little bit of weaving, right? So I feel like I accomplished a lot, but it has been 5 weeks. So if this were crochet or knitting, I would have accomplished so much more, because there have been multiple times where I'm like, ooh, I have 10 minutes, but I don't have time. Like, the cross stitch is the easiest thing to pull out when I have 10 minutes, but it's still like a faff. I have to faff around to get it set up. So I don't know. Do you do any of these crafts? Do you love them? I really want to know your thoughts. The next thing I want to talk about is, it's not exactly a craft, it's doing puzzles. And I adore doing puzzles, but again, this is not something I can do around my kids. They're too young. Noah would probably eat the pieces, or he'd run away with them, and I would never be able to finish the puzzle, and which would frustrate me endlessly. And I was watching Elizabeth from Crochet Cakes a while ago, and she was doing a puzzle on a puzzle mat. And I was like, oh my gosh, I knew puzzle mats existed. Why have I never thought of this? This is genius. And so I was totally enabled by Elizabeth to go on Amazon and find a puzzle mat so that I could do a puzzle. This is the one I settled on. It is a roll-up puzzle pad, and I will insert some footage of this out of the box and laid out in just a few minutes so that you can see it. It's in the box right now just for ease of comfort. It comes with a bag. The reason I picked this particular one, this one was a little bit pricier. The reason I picked it is because it's not made of felt, and a lot of the puzzle mats are made of felt. This one has a smooth surface on the inside. Let's see if I can get it open. So on the bottom is non-stick rubber, so it's not going to slide all over your table. It has 3 Velcro straps that you can do, and then this is kind of the inside right here. It's really smooth, but your puzzle pieces will stay on there no problem. And on the inside, it has a foam core. I found out that a lot of the puzzle mats that I was researching have like a blow-up inner tube kind of thing core, which the reviews tended to be like, oh, it works great until the inner tube deflates. And then your puzzle kind of collapses on itself. And I don't mind felt in general, but pieces of little tiny puzzle pieces of cardboard stuck in felt bothers me. Why does it bother me? Because I'm weird. So I knew I didn't want a felt one. So I actually got 2 of these, one for me and one as a thank you to my mom, who came and stayed with me for 2 weeks after surgery to help, which was so amazing. And I know she loves to do puzzles, but her cat is always like scattering the pieces, chewing on them. And I was like, well, this is perfect for both of us. So I started a puzzle, which I've only worked on this 2 times. It's not super, I've not made a lot of progress. My mom and I worked on it one night, and then I worked on it a little bit. It's the underwater dogs puzzle. I got this out of the little free library in my neighborhood, so I actually don't know if it even has all of the pieces. It's a 750 piece puzzle. I think I would prefer a 350 or a 500 because this is a lot of pieces. But I think it's adorable. The only thing I will say is whoever did this puzzle clearly has dogs, and I am allergic to dogs because working on this makes me sneeze. But I'm still gonna keep working on it. I'm just gonna have to like clean the puzzle mat afterwards. So what I'm gonna do is I will take some video from above with the puzzle mat rolled out, and I will insert it here so you can see what I'm talking about. This is what the mat looks like all rolled out. You can see the foam tube is right here. You just kind of roll it up on itself. And I just unrolled this, and this is exactly what the puzzle looks like. So it does not separate any of the pieces. My mom did this part, the underwater dogs. We've got this over here, this little one doggy that's finished. And then most of the border is done. You can see it's really dusty. That's actually from this puzzle that I got at the little free library. It's got dusty and got dog hair on it, so I'm gonna need to wash this. But this fabric is super smooth, and it actually has puzzle lines. So 300, 500, it goes up to 1,000 pieces. It also has a circle, and it does not move at all. It has this non-stick, non-slip fabric on the bottom. So highly, highly love this puzzle mat, and I think that I will be using it for many years to come. So if you want that puzzle mat, that exact one, again, I'm not making any money off of this. I will just link directly to Amazon where I got it. I think it's ingenious, and I am really impressed with the quality of that mat. And it's like a small business. It's not one of those, like, you know what I'm saying. I highly enjoyed it. So that's what I've been working on. The other thing, so I got one piece of delightful handmade Happy Meal that just was, oh, it was so cool. I'm gonna make a separate video about that because it's so special. But I got a different piece of Happy Meal that I wasn't expecting. I didn't know was coming. And it came like 3 days ago. And it was a box from Premier Yarns. And if you don't know, I'm an affiliate with Premier Yarns since Vlogmas, since December last year. And I had many plans of fun things to do with Premier Yarns. I think their yarn is beautiful. I ordered some of the yarn to make a sweater, a butterfly sweater. I ordered some of their yarn to make socks with. And I have some of the yarn that they sent me as a sample that I was going to make a hat design with and just make a tutorial on the channel because it was so simple. And instead of doing all of that, I had elbow surgery and I was not allowed to crochet or knit or do anything. And so I really haven't talked about it. I haven't done anything, which frustrates me to no end. That I'm like limited in my abilities right now. And so I certainly was not expecting anything to come in the mail. And instead, what came in the mail was like Premier Yarn swag, which I will show you. It came with a beautiful card. It says, "Welcome 2025." And this is like so clearly a handmade card. Isn't that beautiful? Like, to have this kind of handwriting. It's beautiful. And it says, "Thank you for the support for the yarn brand as our alliance partner." And it says, "Your friends at Premier Yarn." And I just was like, but I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything, even though I've wanted to so much. And what was in here, I haven't used it yet because I was waiting to show you guys, is some stickers, which Nova already has wanted to pilfer. And also a water bottle, an Arctic water bottle. Like, these are not cheap. This is awesome, especially when we go out for long periods of time with the kids. I fill up their water bottles and I fill up my water bottle, and inevitably they drink all of their water and then they drink all of my water and we don't have enough water. So I can tell you that I will use this constantly, especially when we're out of the house for more than an hour or two, to just have backup water to fill up the kiddos' water bottles with. So it's like an insulated water thing, and you can drink out of it if you want. You just pop the top off like this. And I was like, I got emotional because I was like, I don't deserve this. Like, I don't think I've helped them at all, even though they were so kind to request that I become part of their affiliate program, which I was delighted to do because I love their yarn. And I don't know, I just felt like that was really undeserved. And it came in the mail, I think 3 days ago, and we have been having such a rough time with sickness and et cetera, et cetera. And I had not slept like at all the night before. Neither had baby Noah. We had multiple doctor visits that day, and it came in the mail. And when I opened it, I was like, what in the world could this possibly be? I actually cried. And maybe I was crying from just like sheer overwhelm and lack of sleep. I've been doing that a lot lately, but I don't know. It just was so kind. Like, it was so unnecessary and so kind. And I actually am writing Michelle an email just to say thank you, because I don't know, it's just a water bottle, but it meant like a lot to me. It really did. In fact, I wanted last week. So 2 weeks ago, I was supposed to record a podcast. I couldn't do it because we were all so sick. And then last week, my plan was to have a video go up on Friday when they released a new yarn, because I was so fascinated by this yarn. And again, Friday was like the craziest day. I had an appointment for Noah at the hospital. We then got a flat tire. We then had to go to Nova's school, which I forgot was happening. So we were just rushing around. I got the flat tire fixed. We went to her school. He had to get blood drawn. That was a several-hour process. We were gone all day, and he didn't get a nap. And it was just, I was still coughing up a lung, and I was sick, and like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't record the video. And that was really hard for me when another Saturday came and went and I couldn't do anything. And I can hear you. I can hear some of you yelling at me right now, being like, you need to rest. You had surgery. You're sick. It's fine. I know, but like, I hate it. I don't like to slow down, okay? And I was actually really excited to share this with you. So I'm still going to share it with you because I am going to be purchasing it. And you can still purchase it if you want to. It's just not on the launch day. This is what I'm talking about. Premier launched a new yarn. It's a sock kit. Y'all know I love to knit socks. Okay. So you essentially get like self-striping yarn, and it's a kit, and it's how much is it? $24, I think. Yeah, $24.99. And you get a bag that's called a sock kit, and you get two 50-gram balls of yarn and a 25-gram ball contrast mini. You also get stitch markers, a crochet hook, a knitting needle set of double points, and a QR code to get a sock pattern, knit or crochet. They have a crochet sock pattern attached to this kit, which that's what really blew me away, because when you make socks, you knit them. Generally, there are plenty of great crochet sock patterns out there, but I've never seen a yarn company be like, you can either knit or crochet with this yarn. And look, I'm going to show you. They have the sample. Do you see this? So this is the knit sample. This is the crochet sample. They actually show you what it's going to look like. I was like, oh my gosh. So they have all kinds of colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 different colorways of this yarn. This is obviously the colorway I like the most because it's very loud, but there's blues. So these are all the colors. Focus. It's kind of like a small picture, but there's really lovely. There's oranges and blues and purples. And so I am going to purchase one of their sock kits. I did a deep dive on their website because I was like, ooh, I don't really need a knit sock pattern, right? Like I have my vanilla sock pattern memorized. So I would like to just buy the yarn by itself, but you can't. It's exclusive to the kit. So if you want this yarn, you have to buy the kit. The other new yarn that they sent out, I also think I'm going to order a ball of this and make some kind of plushie with it, because it's called Pom Pom XL Pom Party. It's Parfait XL Pom Party. And it's basically Premier Parfait, and it's got little like pom-poms attached to it. And look at all the colors. It's so pretty. Which one am I going to order? You can guess. Obviously this one. If I happen to order 2 balls, I might get one of those as well. It's so cute. It's so cute. So I will link both of those yarns down below if you just want to check them out. I am an affiliate with Premier Yarn, so if you make a purchase in like 2 months, I'll get like a couple pennies off of that. But because I waited so long to record that video, it's like a week late. They have released another new yarn, and it's called Flora, which is 85% acrylic, 14% rayon, and 1% nylon. I should say that the sock yarn is actually a 50% merino, 25% bamboo, 25% nylon yarn. So it should be hard wearing, soft, and cool. Like cool because of the bamboo, temperature-wise cool, which is the reason I want to buy it. This, again, is like a bulky yarn. It's called Flora, and it is super beautiful. These are all the colors. You get about 100 yards per ball. Sorry about the glare. The lighting in here is ridiculous. So, yeah, just beautiful. I don't know how much those cost because I didn't actually pull that up, but I can do it. Premier Yarns Flora. Because I'm recording this after the yarn has already launched. No, I'm not. It's Thursday. The yarn doesn't launch till tomorrow, Friday, but you're not going to see this until Saturday. So I'll leave a link directly down below if you want to check it out. I just thought it was cool, and I'm definitely, when I'm allowed to knit and crochet again, I'm going to use that sock yarn and make myself a little plushie. I think in 2025, because I have all these huge projects on the go, what I need to do is pepper in a lot of small projects because I need that sense of like accomplishment, and I'm also just going to need small projects that I can pick up and put down and not strain my arm too much. Speaking of the arm, this is my robot arm that shall live in posterity. I hope to get this off next week. It looks way cooler than it is. It's basically a movement limiter, and I can move quite a bit now. I can move all the way to this. When I started, I could literally just do this, and it's been increasing every single week. I have one more Monday to increase it one more time, and then Wednesday next week is when I have a doctor's appointment. So this piece is actually separate from this. This is like a mega wrist brace. I can move my fingers, but I can't bend my wrist like this at all. So I wore a cast from my fingertips to my armpit for 2 weeks. And then I have this robot arm that I'm wearing for another 4 weeks. It's not great. It's really not great. I don't enjoy it. I have to sleep with it on. The only time I can take this off is when I'm in the shower or to change my clothes. I've been wearing my husband's clothing because he has many more long sleeve shirts than I do. And I need a long, they said it'll be fine, it won't bother me, but like the incision is right under this pad and the incision is like this big. And so this pad rubs on the incision all day long and it just irritates the daylights out of me. So I have like a silicone scar patch on top, which maybe it'll make the scar look delightful in another 6 months. Who knows? That's not really why I'm wearing it. I'm wearing it because it provides some cushion and then I wear a long sleeve shirt on top of it. Thank God it's not the summer. Thank goodness it's not 95 degrees outside because this would be horrible to wear in 95-degree weather chasing my kids outside. It has not been super, super hot here yet. It's only gotten up to like 80, 83 degrees. So I really hope to get this off next week, but then still, like, I'm still not recovered. You know what I mean? Like I'm not supposed to be lifting anything heavier than a can with this arm. Have I been lifting with this arm? I want to lie and say no because I know you guys are going to be mad at me. But yes, I have. I try very hard not to. I hold Noah in my left arm. I do everything I possibly can with my left arm. But there are situations that I physically cannot only use one arm. Specifically, putting him in the car seat and putting him in the crib after he goes to sleep. And I cannot use one arm for that. Like if I tried to put him in the crib when he's asleep with one arm, I'd drop him on his head and then he'd wake up and scream. So my arm is more sore than it should be, probably. I've tried to be careful. I've tried to make sure that anytime I'm like lifting him, my arm is like bent like this and I'm not doing anything with it extended. But I had to save his life because he almost fell out of a shopping cart a couple of weeks ago. And it was just pure instinct. I don't think I could have stopped myself even if I had thought about it. He would have been seriously injured if he fell out on the concrete floor on his head. But I caught him on top of this arm and it hurt so bad. Thankfully, the next day it had calmed down like a lot. So I mean, I hope there's not any permanent damage from that, but like, I don't know what else to do. Like it's just me and the kids most of the time. And when my husband's around off work, on the weekends, he does all the heavy lifting. I will text him at night as soon as Noah goes to sleep and he'll come get him and put him in the crib. But like for nap times, for the million times we have to get in and out of the car, I have to lift him. And I do my best, but I don't know what else to do. So don't yell at me because I already feel bad enough about it. Okay? So the robot arm update is hopefully there will be no robot arm in 1 week from today. But then there's going to be a long physical therapy recovery. And I've got to find a physical therapist that my insurance will cover. I don't even want to think about that. And another problem is I have had to hold him so much more than normal. Like when he is feeling good, he's a happy boy. He is about his business. Like he has got stuff to do. And you know this, if you watched Vlogmas, there's plenty of Noah doing business in that. Or B, you're a member of my Patreon or the members section of YouTube because I post the vlogs and he be doing stuff. Like when he's a happy boy, he is out and about. Like he is an outdoor cat. Okay, he has not been feeling well. We have been sick since the day I got surgery. Like, I came home from the hospital to Nova having 102 fever. Like, and they've just been sick ever since. Like, she got sick. 5 days later, Noah got sick. They, of course, gave it to my mom. So delightful of them. They got over it. Nova got sick again with something else. Noah got sick again with something else. Then I finally got it. So we had a round of sinus infections. Nova had an ear infection. I got a sinus infection and an eye infection because Noah stuck his pacifier in my eyeball. So gross. So that was delightful. So we were all on antibiotics, which I hate being on antibiotics, but like they had been sick for like 3 weeks straight at this point, and we just couldn't get rid of it. Like doing all the things. Sometimes you need modern medicine, right? So we did that. They're finally feeling better. But I'm a little concerned because Nova woke up this morning coughing again. and it's just that time of year. It's sick season, okay? On top of that, so he wasn't sleeping and he wasn't feeling well because he couldn't breathe and he was coughing. So I was up a lot in the middle of the night with him. Then his tummy troubles, he's always had since he's been born, just got to a point where we ended up taking him to the ER a week and a half ago. And you know what? I don't know that I have the emotional bandwidth to like go into all of that right now. A, because I'm not sure I want all of his medical stuff just out there in the interweb forever for anyone in the world to talk about. But B, I'm so tired. And I know if I talk about it, I'm going to cry because he was in so much pain. Like I have never seen him cry like that before. And it's been a really rough week and 2 weeks. He finally in the last few days has calmed down and is on the right track. He's okay, I hope. We've got the right medication for him. I did record 2 update videos specifically about him for the patrons of Patreon. And if you want to know what's going on with Noah, if you've like been here for a while and you care about what's going on with Noah, please just email me or shoot me a DM on Instagram and I will send you the link to that video. It is a video on YouTube. It's just unlisted, meaning it's not public. So only the people with the link can watch it. I am happy for you to know. I just don't know that I can go repeat everything right now about that because I will cry about it. So I think I have slept, or he has slept through the night two or three times in the last 3 weeks. And he is up in pain, right? And so last night was one of the nights he slept all night long, but he was up crying 3 times. He just happened to put himself back to sleep like he did earlier for his nap. So I was awake watching him on the monitor, but he has not been able to put himself back to sleep recently because he has needed love. And when I had to take him to the hospital, like I had to carry him. I mean, he's crying, he's screaming, he's in so much pain. And I had to carry him through the hospital and I kept him on my left side, but he's like writhing around, right? So I had to use my arm to stabilize him. And yeah, my arm hurt a lot the day after that. So it's just been a lot over here. Like my shirt says everything hurts because it does. The antibiotic that I was on did not kick the sickness that I had. It came back pretty immediately after I finished that course. And so I got another prescription from the doctor, which I promptly had a violent stomach reaction to, like horrible stomach pain. So I stopped taking that. Now I'm on a different medication. It's just like never ending. We have had 2 house leaks, one in the kitchen that grew mold and one in the bathroom in the back. One of them we were able to fix ourselves. That took like a whole day, and one of them required a plumber and a lot of money. It's just been, I saw a meme the other day that was like, if it's not one thing, it's another. Yes, can confirm. If it's not one thing, it's another. So I hope that we are on the upswing. I hope. And honestly, there's so many people, including family, who have it so much worse right now. And I have been pretty overwhelmed, but I've been trying to be grateful and notice all of the little positive things and try to enjoy the midnight snuggles with my baby who's growing up too fast. So it has been rough. This is not, surgery recovery was never going to be easy, right? But to have 2 sick kids for the entire time since surgery and then be sick myself with all of these things and then have a reaction to medication and then have to take Noah to the ER and like have 2 plumbing leaks and a flat tire. It has just been, it's been a lot. Trying to be grateful, trying to like keep positive, but I really, really miss crochet. I really miss knitting because that just like centers me in a place of non-anxiousness. And I have not been able to access that. So it's been difficult. It's been difficult to like keep on track. And I haven't been able to come talk to you, which is a huge source of joy for me. And I haven't been able to access that either. Like I haven't even really been able to like reply to your comments, which makes me feel like we're having this conversation, right? of friends of like, you came over to my house and now we're like talking and I'm just so grateful you're here. And I haven't been able to have that interaction really because typing is difficult. It's just a lot. It's been a lot. I'm not trying to complain, but I am a little bit. I'm a little bit complaining. Oh gosh, I almost knocked my iPad on the floor, which would have taken out the camera. So this is probably a super long podcast. I feel like I've been talking for ages, so I'm gonna end. If this kind of nonsense is your jam, you can subscribe. You can hit the notification bell to be updated. I generally post an update every 2 weeks. I am hoping to have another video next week as well, related to that very special Happy Meal I got. And tell me something positive. Leave me a comment below. Tell me what you're working on. I will live vicariously through your knitting and crochet. Tell me if you've done any of these crafts. Tell me anything you want to know, you want me to know, because I just would love to have a conversation with you. Thanks for coming to my house and visiting. I deeply appreciate all of you for being here and for all of the kind messages of support and encouragement and prayers that I know you have been sending my way in this wild time. So I'm gonna stop rambling. Have a wonderful March. Happy crafting. Be kind to yourself, and I will see you soon. Bye, friends.